Where I grew up, it was deep in the country. You could call it. I called it the woods because my house, while not in the woods, was surrounded on three sides by woods. So that meant one good thing: no neighbors close by. You could kind of do whatever you wanted within reason, and you didn't have your neighbor's house just about touching yours like mine does now at the house I live in. But the big drawback was when I was growing up, when I was little, we didn't have cable. And it wasn't because we were too poor or couldn't afford it or anything like that. Back then, this was the early 90s, I guess late 80s too, cable companies didn't used to be greedy. They were just like, all right, we got enough that we're happy with this. But what about those people in areas where we don't offer cable? Well, hell with them dumb hicks. They probably just watch stumps and are entertained by that. That meant cable wasn't available. We wanted it, but we couldn't have it. Saturday morning cartoons were all we got, cartoon-wise. And we got like 3 or 4 channels, basic channels, and which really sucked for me because I was a huge Power Rangers fan and we didn't get Fox, so couldn't watch that. But my grandmother had cable, so we would watch the hell out of her cable all day long when we stayed there. But at home there wasn't anything. It was, we got PBS too. I shouldn't forget that. We watched a lot of PBS, which is good because to this day, me and my sister absolutely love like British TV, old British TV. Like Are You Being Served? We watch that every Saturday night without fail. And it made my parents big Doctor Who fans because they didn't have cable. They watched PBS. And then when I was about 6, we finally found a cable company. It's called Primestar. And we got Primestar set up. It got a bunch of channels. It got more channels than even my grandmother's basic cable. We were so happy and so excited. We had cable. But there's always a drawback. Number one, we had 2 TVs, but only one box, I guess you could call it. And that meant whatever somebody was watching upstairs, that's what was on downstairs. Period. And while my parents were good about stuff, they weren't exactly equitable on time. My dad wanted to watch the Golf Channel. And he didn't care if we wanted to watch cartoons or watch Cartoon Network. So that meant I had to watch a lot of stuff that our parents wanted to watch, which is fine. Although I think, ironically, the cable package didn't get PBS, so we had to turn the cable off to watch PBS initially. Another drawback was nowadays when it's like a windy day or a thunderstorm, the power might go out and your cable would go out. It happens. Windy day might affect the cable. With Primestar, it could be a great sunny day like today and it wouldn't work because of sunspots. Well, it would work, but it would basically be blurred out. So it'd be like watching TV before cable. And another thing, before we had Primestar, we had like a huge antenna on top of the house, and we had a satellite dish in the yard, all to get those 4 basic channels. And the Primestar dish was this little mini dish, and it drove my dad crazy that a nice day would prevent him from watching TV. Now you're probably thinking, well, I probably would encourage y'all to go outside and do something living out in the country. I didn't want to play outside. As a kid, I would play inside and watch TV. Eventually, I think a few years later, my dad finally got rid of Primestar because I think you had to sign like a contract. It was like cell phone plans. Because we were on like a 3-year contract, something ridiculous. It had to pay to have that satellite installed. And I think we had to pay a monthly fee to have it in our yard. They really, really saw us coming. Or just could sense the desperation of us really wanting to have cable. But once we had that, the wonder of cable never ceased for me. Like being able to watch TV, I always kind of took that for granted. But now I don't. And then I remember when I was 12, we got cable installed in my room, and that was the greatest thing ever. I could watch wrestling. But that's the big thing. Like, cable back then was kind of like cell phone service, because of where we live, we were the last in cell phone service too. Because you could not make a call from our house, period, for the longest time. It's gotten better now as they've gotten more and more cell phone service, but cell phones and cable companies are just like, we don't care about those country folk. They don't need to make phone calls. They probably don't even know what a phone is. And they just like, and then they finally realized, hey, we can make money by offering cable to as many people as possible. That way we can gouge the price up. And now, ironically, still, I don't even have cable. I just have internet and just use that. I have internet and streaming. So I've gotten rid of cable, but growing up without it sucked, and I do not recommend it.